Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video, and this is a very late 2023 AFL season predictions video. So in this I'll be talking about who I think is going to win the Brownlow, the Coleman, the Rising Star, who I think will be the surprise All-Australian, and also some bold calls as well. I did film this, trying to film this video last night as I'm recording this. I'm recording this on a Friday night, so we only had one game in, and half time in a game, 1.5 games in to the season. I know it's quite late, but better late than never, as I've always said. So let's get to it. So my pick for the Brownlow medal, I think. It's obvious. I think it's Took Miller. I think if I predict the Gold Coast Suns will make the finals this year, which I'll explain to him a bit later, then I think that they'll win more games, and then I believe Took Miller will earn more votes. I think the problem will be will Noah Anderson and Rao and others take votes off him. Maybe that might be the issue, but obviously I think, you never know, probably with that, maybe it might, turn out that way. So Miller to win the Brownlow. For the Coleman, I've predict Tom Lynch from Richmond. Basically because I think he's the best key forward in the league. I think, no doubt about it. I think he's definitely the best. And stats showed it last year. I think he played like 3 or 4 less games than Charlie Curnow, which he actually ended up winning the Coleman, and strangely enough, he actually ended up winning. He ended up winning it. He actually almost won it in the last game. I wish that he would have kicked a bag of 80 in Sesson in the last game and steal the Coleman medal. But I believe that. I think he'll play more consistently, Tom Lynch, and I believe that I think will grab the Coleman medal. Rising Star Award, Will Ashcroft. Simple. Move on. But no. He's definitely been the outstanding player amongst this draft class this year. No doubt about it. Some people might say Sheasel. Some people might say Cadman. Some people might say Humphrey. Yeah, but it's quite obvious, really, with Will Ashcroft. I think he'll win the Rising Star, but not. And by the way, it's not going to be the last time I'll mention this video. I'll mention that later. Who's set to rise and fall? Who are set to rise? Obviously, the Gold Coast Suns. 2 words for their season, as I've said so many times. No excuses. They've got the list now to challenge for the top 8. They've got one of if not the most underrated list this year. They've got a very good mix of mostly mix of youth, but I've also got a classy group of experienced men like Witts and Swallow. I say Shallow. There's Swallow, Ellis as well, who's experienced finals as well. I think they've got the ingredients, I believe, to go to the next level, and that is make finals, make finals basically, and be the last team currently in this 18 out of the 18 teams to make a final. I believe, in my opinion. The one that's set to fall, I believe, is Collingwood. Now, I think for me, I've already explained them in my ladder prediction, and I'm not going to repeat myself. So I think for me, they're going to get it. All I can say is I think they're going to be more teams going to go to work on them, especially how they perform in the last 5 minutes of games. That's why probably they were able to win so many close games. And I believe that I believe they'll be exploited more, and no doubt about it, I think that they will. I think no doubt about it, that people, other teams will go to do their homework on them, and that would lead to them probably still challenge for finals mostly, but I believe that they will drop out of the 8 in my opinion. Surprise or Australian? I wanted something out there, more outside the box type of thing. I remember the other day, I was thinking very hard about this for about a minute. Very hard about this. And I always kept coming back to this name, again, about the Gold Coast Suns. But I think he's one of the more underrated young key backs in the league. Everyone says about the DeConing, about DeConing, Sam DeConing, but Charlie Ballard, I think he'll go to another level, I believe, this year. I think this year there was some glimpses last year. For me, I believe he'll go to another step, and maybe not necessarily. I think I've not said I put him as a surprise Australian, but maybe make the Australian 40, maybe make the best 22. But I believe Ballard. I believe surprise Australian. I couldn't think of anybody else really, and I wanted to go outside the square pretty much in this selection. Recruit of the year, I believe it'll be Jack Gunston, who's recently gone from Hawthorn to Brisbane. I think, in my opinion, he's a lot better of a forward than McStay. McStay was at Brisbane. Now that he's gone, I think it's a blessing in disguise. Now that he's gone to Collingwood, and then they've. I know that they might get a couple of years, maybe 3 years out of Gunston, but they've done this so many times. They've done this with Hodge, they've done this with Birchall, and now they're going to do it with Gunston. And you never know. Maybe the next couple of years, maybe Bruce might say, for example, I've seen plenty of my former teammates go to Brisbane and have success. Why don't I do it? So I believe for me that trio of Danaher, Hipwood, and Gunston, that will cause a lot of havoc for a lot of sides, I believe. Because I'd assume Gunston will get the best defender, and then Danaher will get the second best defender, and then I would assume Hipwood will. I believe it'll favour Hipwood more, in my opinion. So I believe, for me. I believe for me that Gunston will fit in well there at the Lions. Will Carlton make finals this year? Yes, they will, but not as high as everyone thinks. Everyone's put him for top 4. But I don't see him doing that. I see him finishing maybe between 5th to 8th. I don't see him finishing any lower than 8th, to be honest. So that means I definitely have them in finals. But I don't see them being top 4, I think, in my opinion. Best new club coach, I believe it'll be Ross Lyon in his second spell at St Kilda. I believe the Saints are. I think they're better than what everyone says they are. I know because I watched this firsthand. in the practice game. I watched about over 90% of the practice game against Essendon. And even in the third quarter, when they were kicking against the win, that even dominated Essendon. And I know Essendon's not going to do that much this year. I know that. But yeah, I believe for me, I think St Kilda are going to go better than what they normally are, but not in the present moment, obviously, because with King and Membry being out, they got a lack of tall forwards at the moment. But that will come eventually in the season, and I think they'll come. I can see him possibly coming home, like a steam train, when they get Max King and Membry and all those back, and then that would mean that all the players such as Gresham, Steele, and all that they will have have two forwards to kick to, basically. Finally, I'll mention my bold calls. So I've got 5 of them. So here it is. So number 1, this is statistical. Ball call, this one. The average home and away season score to go up by 1.6 points. Now, just to give you a bit of a fact here, the average home and away season score in 2022 was 83.0, which was up by 3 points, which was up by, I think it was 3.2 on 2021 when it averaged 79.8. So I think around maybe mid-80s, maybe 84, maybe 85. Maybe it'll be another big step in the right direction in terms of more high-scoring games. I think there'll be more high-scoring games than there were in 2022, and there were a lot of high-scoring games in 2022. So I believe that there'll be loads more of them for me in 2023. Second call. I believe Will Ashcroft will not receive the round 1 Rising Star nomination, because normally when you win I think I might have to look this up. But I don't think Nick Dacos. Definitely McGrath. He didn't get the round 1 nomination when he won it in 2017. I don't think Stevenson did in 2018. Who won it in 2019? I don't think Sarong did in 2020. 2021. I don't think Jackson. I think he got his nomination. I think very late, I believe, in the year, and he ended up winning it. And then last year, Nick Dacos. I don't think he even got a nomination in round 1. I don't think. I might have to check it out. I don't think he may have or may not. I don't know. But normally winners don't get round 1 nominations, historically speaking. So I believe for me, Will Ashcroft will not receive a round. If so, it probably as early as round 2. I believe where I think he'll get a nomination, but I don't think he'll get a round 1 nomination, because normally Rising Star winners don't normally win after a round 1 nomination. Number 3, I think we will have a mid-season sacking, and that team, I believe, will be the West Coast Eagles. I think I can see Adam Simpson and the Eagles part ways. Either part ways, he resigns, or he gets the sack. I think the Eagles need. I can see the Eagles trying to move in a new direction, which I'll get to in a minute with my next ball call. And I believe for me, and maybe Adam Simpson's next chase, he could go back to North Melbourne and maybe earn a role on the board there, or maybe as a director of footy over there, or maybe as an assistant coach to Clarko in 2024. Who knows? But I think think the Eagles need a new direction, and I believe the only way to do that, I believe, is for Simo to either resign or he gets the sack. Quite simple as that, really, in my opinion. Number 4, I think we'll have not 1, not 2, but 3 new coaches in 2024. The obvious one being the West Coast Eagles, and I believe I can see Jamie Graham be a caretaker coach for when eventually Adam Simpson does resign, and then the Eagles hierarchy would be so impressed by him, they say, you know what, Jamie, you've got the job. You got the job permanently. And so does Zerb too, because he was rumoured to be one of the front runners for the GWS job before they settled on Adam Kingsley. And of course for us, for Essendon, he was rumoured to be one of the top 2 candidates, along with Adam Uze, to be Essendon's new coach until they settle on Brad Scott. So I think for me, it's well deserved, really. I think for me, for Jamie Graham, that I believe he will coach the West Coast Eagles in 2024. The second one, I think, will be Port Adelaide. I think Ken Hinkley, I believe, if they start the season quite badly or they miss the finals, I believe his time will be up as Port Adelaide coach. And I think for me, in my opinion, there was I don't know where I got it from. I think it was somewhere on social media. I believe there was a rumor swirling around that if Ken would get the sack, he would be replaced by Josh Carr. That was I think I got it somewhere. I think it was on 7AFL's Twitter, I believe, at some point, which I think it was on, certainly around, I think it was on Instagram, I believe. I remember rightly. So I believe, and I think there's some truth to it. I believe if Port Adelaide have a bad year or don't make the finals, I believe Ken will be in big trouble, and get the sack there. And obviously, I believe he'll be replaced by Josh Carr. And the third one, which is this is going to be surprising, I think will be the Western Bulldogs. I can see the Western Bulldogs board lose patience with Luke Beveridge because they've had the list to win at least the premiership for the last couple of years, especially in 2021. And they were a quarter and a half away from winning that flag in 2021, and then to drop from that to win it to basically just sneak in the finals in 2022. And if it wasn't for Collingwood kicking a last minute goal, they probably would not have made finals. So and for me, I don't think the Bulldogs list is as good as everyone says it is. Only reason being because I believe there's now a lot of teams that have gone ahead of them in terms of their list now, I think, in my opinion. But don't get me wrong, there's still some stars there in terms of the Bont, Liberatore, Waterman, Norton, those type of players they still got. But I believe that they'll be. But I don't think they'll make finals. They'll make Bevo probably lose his job, and I think his replacement. He's still at Essendon. Currently, as an assistant coach, I think still. But surely the offer of coaching his beloved Bulldogs is definitely not going to be hard to turn down. And for Gia, I think Daniel Gian Syracuse, I believe, will be I think he'll be the new coach of the Bulldogs. I was going to say Chris Grant, but I don't see him going from the AFL. I think he's currently an AFLW coach of the Dogs. I don't think he'll go to the men's. I don't see it. I think I can definitely see Gian Siracusa getting that job. Of course, the reason why I haven't gone with Ken Hinkley with any of them because I believe these new coaches that have been assistants for many, many years, I believe will be the norm. It's proven in the last few years with Craig McRae. Hopefully it's going to be successful with Adam Kingsley. And a lot of these coaches are going to be, assistant coaches are going to be successful coaches in future years, I believe. So those 3 new coaches in 2024, the Eagles with Jamie Graham, Port Adelaide for Josh Carr, and the Western Bulldogs with Daniel Gian Siracusa. And the final one, number 5. This one I've saved the boldest for last. I think the Gold Coast Suns will make the finals. But you're going to say, that's not bold. You've already picked them to make finals. But, whoa, I'm not done yet. And win a final in their first attempt. Could they do it? If the most craziest final happens they get involved in, and it's the right side, anything's possible. Anything is possible. Like, but for God's sake, Collingwood went from 17th in 2021 to 4th. Anything is possible. Anything is possible at this point, in my opinion. I know it's the most craziest to think that Gold Coast will win a final at their first attempt. That would mean bloody Essendon. They're going to be the only team in the ATT competition that has not won a final. But I just had to do it. Most likely, I might get this thing wrong. All the talk about Gold Coast I've said probably might be wrong at the end of the season. But I had to get this out there pretty much. So that's pretty much it for this late season prediction for the 2023 AFL season. The next preview for a season and the final bit I'm going to do finally is switch from feet to wheels, 2 of them, MotoGP, and that's something I'm definitely looking forward to. So like this video, share to anybody who is a Gold Coast Suns fan or a Brisbane fan or a Richmond fan. Comment down below who is your tip to win the Brownlow, who's your tip to win the Coleman, who's your tip to win the Rising Star. I would love to hear your thoughts about those from what I just said. And lastly, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labeled subscribe. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later, and wherever you may be, may the sun or the moon shine on your team in 2023.